Hey everyone! Today we will be looking at a pre-built full-size keyboard, the Royal Kludge RK919 mechanical gaming keyboard. To be totally transparent, this keyboard was sent to me for review by the retailer Banggood. However, this is not a paid review in any way, and Banggood does not receive a copy of this video in advance. Now, this keyboard currently retails for $60 US or just under $80 Canadian, which I would put in the budget option when looking at mechanical keyboards. Yes, there are keyboards that retail for much cheaper, but when it comes to keyboards with actual mechanical switches, it seems like these days the price point starts at around that $50 US benchmark. Now, when we unbox the keyboard, there isn't a ton in the box. You get the keyboard along with the included wrist rest, a plastic keycap puller, and the instructions. Now, I have been using this keyboard for about a week and a half at the time of recording, and to be honest, it's taken me a little bit to get used to. Let me explain. This is the Idobao ID80, and it's been my daily driver for the past 4 months. You'll see that it's a 75% form factor keyboard, meaning that it omits the numpad and squishes the keys together to make it more compact. This is the Keychron K8, and it is a 10 keyless keyboard and is slightly longer, but not too much taller. Finally, this is the RK919. I haven't used a full-size keyboard in well over a year, and holy crap, are they ever huge. It was a bit tricky at first, mostly because I'm just used to having a lot more mouse travel when gaming. Now, that's not a knock on the board, it's just more a user preference. The top side of this board is aluminum, which does add some rigidity to the board. The build quality of the frame does seem to be pretty decent for a keyboard at this price point. It is a fairly light board, however, being full size and weighing in at 1,014 grams. To put that in perspective, my fully built ID80 weighs 1,130 grams, and the GMMK 10 keyless weighs in at 830 grams. It also has legs that will allow you to increase the typing angle, but that's really the only major adjustment available. The cord for the keyboard is fixed, which does prevent you from removing it from the keyboard itself. This does mean that if the cord is broken for whatever reason, you will likely need to replace the entire keyboard. Personally, I like to be able to disconnect the cable from a keyboard like on the ID80 here, but you rarely see that feature on budget keyboards. Another thing that you don't see too often on budget keyboards is a nice implementation of RGB. Definitely not the case with the RK919. I really like the implementation of the RGB on this keyboard. That ring around the keyboard is quite unique, and I haven't really seen anything else quite like it. The options for customization are quite nice as well, and the onboard commands are a nice touch. The keycaps do seem to be double shot, which means that the legends will not fade over time and extended use. However, the little media icons that you see on the keyboard look to be painted on, and I'm suspicious of how long those legends will last on the keyboard before they do start to rub off over time. The keycaps are not bad, and I think across the entire board, the lettering is pretty consistent and the shine through is pretty good. Now, these red switches are from a brand named Huano. I had never heard of them before this review, and after a bit of research, it seems that they are more involved in switches for mice. That being said, these switches do feel pretty decent, and overall, I was impressed with how they felt right out of the box. Now, it is nice that the RK919 comes with Cherry MX style mechanical switches, because a lot of other switches in this price point don't actually have Cherry style switches. They are either proprietary or they're membrane keyboards. So the advantage here is if you wanted to switch out these keycaps to a different style, you would be able to do so quite easily. The stabilizers on this keyboard are okay, but they're certainly nothing to write home about. Here, have a listen. I tried my hand at giving these stabilizers a bit of extra lube with some dielectric grease, but unfortunately, because the switch is soldered into the board, it's really hard to get at them and didn't really lead to any major sound changes. And speaking of, here's the sound test. Finally, let's talk about the price. I mentioned that this keyboard is currently retailing for just under $80 Canadian. With that price point in mind, I checked out what else there was in the market for any comparables at the price point. After some research on both Amazon and other Canadian retailers, I was hard-pressed to find a keyboard that was full size, had full RGB functionality, and had mechanical switches at that price point. Most comparables, as mentioned before, either featured a membrane keyboard or didn't have the full RGB spectrum. I think if you're looking for a budget, full-size keyboard with real mechanical switches and a rather unique implementation of RGB, then I would definitely give the RK919 some consideration. I think it has some nice features at the price point, and it will definitely stand out on your desk. For the price you pay, you are getting some pretty good value. Now, if you're interested in purchasing this keyboard, there is a link in the description below with a coupon which will allow you to get this board at a discount on the Banggood store. But let me know what your thoughts are on this keyboard. If you liked this video, please consider giving it a thumbs up and subscribing to my channel. As always, thank you all for your wonderful support, and I'll see you in the next video.